Hi, I'm Maria Fontanaza, editor of Food Safety Tech, and I'm here at the 2015 Food Safety Consortium with Randy Fields, Chairman and CEO of Park City Group and Repositrak. So we just attended his session on FSMA compliance in the supply chain. He made a few really interesting comments, so I wanted you to kind of expand on those points. First of which was you don't want to be on the hook from a regulatory perspective because of a mistake that your supplier makes. So talk a little bit about the shifted mindset that's happening with food companies right now.
Well, the truth of the matter is that the global food supply chain has really been based on trust for the last 70 years. The consequence of which is that we just trust that everyone participates in a way that's appropriate, they do the right thing. Our experience is that the evidence shows that's not the case. To the extent that that's true, it means that people, especially at the top of the supply chain, retailers, wholesalers, distributors, run the risk that they will be sued, that they will be prosecuted, or they will have problems from a regulatory perspective, really not on the basis of what they did, but on the basis of what their suppliers did. So we have now legally become our brother's keeper.
Okay, and so one of those other interesting points you had made was it's not food safety modernization that's changing, it's tort. So expand on that a little bit about how it's not about the regulation, it's about other factors.
Well, I think in the interest of candor, when you think about the supply chain and food in particular, the issue that senior executives face now is, from a regulatory perspective, I call it Sarbanes-Oxley comes to the FDA. So there's certainly the risk of everything from civil to criminal penalties. But even more importantly, it's that $5 million, $10 million, $50 million lawsuit that comes from presumed negligence on the part of your supply chain. So the question is, how do you protect yourself in a world of increasing tort, increasing frequency and dollar value of tort, when you have a supply chain that isn't today as accountable as they ought to be?
Okay, and so actually, when we're talking about the regulation now and FSMA, what would you say are some of the top challenges that companies are facing, and what are the effective tools that they can use in managing their supply chain right now?
Well, I have a bias about the last part of that answer. Of course, I think if everybody used Repositrak, the world would be a better place. But having said that, the reality, again, from a business perspective, is that we found there are huge gaps in terms of safety, compliance, good practice up and down the chain, which means, from what we've seen, virtually everybody has a higher level of presumptive risk today than they thought they had. So we typically uncover risks that in the supply chain that most CEOs find completely intolerable. We're seeing interesting consequence from that. We're seeing more and more CEOs simply say that if I have a supplier who isn't compliant to my standards, cut the POs off. We're going to shut the supply chain down. But this is being driven by the concern that for so many years we presumed things were in good shape, and the reality of it is, as Ronald Reagan once said, we should have trusted but verified. We simply haven't done it. Now the technology is inexpensively available, and more people are doing that.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you.